BYDFi is a crypto exchange on desktop and mobile where you can spot trade, futures trade, use leverage tokens, and copy the trades of top trade. There's hundreds of crypto available on their spot exchange, as well as a free test account so you can practice futures trading without getting wrecked. BYDFi. Good morning, everybody. Let's have a look at Bitcoin and I suppose try and make some kind of assumptions as to what's going to happen this week. So there is a CPI coming out on Wednesday, and I think it's actually going to be bullish for the market, but that is a gamble, just to say that. So, and all of that I've said is based around the last few months of oil prices continuing to trend down, which, to be fair, I also think is about to come to an end at some point relatively soon. So let's just have a little think about what Bitcoin's doing right this very moment in time on Monday morning. So we've managed to reclaim the box. We've managed to get above moving averages such as the 10, 7, 20 and 21, which is what we're sort of trying to base on right now. With a view to hit the 50, which is around 56,300. And a max target of around 59,000. If we extend that over to a daily, what do we see? Anything around those areas of any significance? We've got 56 and 57, and the Bollinger Band around 59. So basically the daily and the 4 hourly offering roughly the same sort of resistances on the way up. Now, like I said last week, you know, Bitcoin is due a bounce, and a bounce that could take you to the previous major resistance all the way up here, which is around 67, and then maybe even break out from this. And that is a possibility. Definitely a possibility. It does exist. It's not nothing. Also, the weekly closed as well. And with that weekly closure, we do have our first major drive of bullish divergence on the money flow index. It's not an enormous print, but it exists all the same. And again, we talk about this a lot. 1, 2 marks the low. 1, 2 mark the low. These are bear market and crashes, by the way. So 1, 2 mark the low, bear market low. And here we go. 1, 2 marks potentially the low. Like it doesn't necessarily mean it is the low. I'm just putting it to you. It's about balancing it out, isn't it, really? Well, is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Nobody knows. We've got these lines on the screen that help us to an extent. Nobody knows. But I think the main thing to focus on is that we have lost a lot of our, I suppose, bullish bias on these shorter term timeframes, being the daily, the 4 hourly specifically, having the death crosses on simples and exponentials and getting those retests on them as well. And obviously we got our death cross on the simple moving averages a while back on the daily, and we're about to incur the death cross on the daily. So long as to avoid that, we've really got to shoot straight up, I'd say, in the next 24, 48 hours at best to avoid that from happening. And then even when it does happen, it's very, very often we see a move into it to see it as resistance. And again, a major resistance exists between 59,000 and 60,000 really. So right now, that is what we're looking at. Some altcoins are moving up. Atom having the dead cat bounce it so much deserves, really. Wrecked City on that one. But overall, my analysis on the highest term time frame on the cycle remains the same, which is that we are consolidating throughout the summer. We came and hit the 200 weekly moving average, which again should mark a significant low technically, because that is a golden cross retest. The golden cross formed around March when the top was in. Yes, that's right. Golden crosses aren't signals. Golden crosses are signs of strength of trend. You don't buy a golden cross. You certainly don't short a death cross. You wait for retests of them and see if they've got validity to it. So there's your retest, and we have a bit of a move on the total too. And my projection, again, putting it on the log scale, is that of an uptrend moving into next year. So this is the sort of thing that I've been saying that we should be expecting. So we're still rounding down. We might even have found the bottom on this one. Again, there's evidence to say that the bottom is in, which is why I made that clickbait video yesterday. The bottom, the low is in. But if we take it to a weekly on the S&P, there is a chance that we are going to bounce from here. Again, look, the new week has opened already with a bit of a green. Where from? The 21 exponential moving average on the weekly. No big surprise there that has happened. That's what you'd expect to see. If we fail from here, it's based on a weekly, it would be 5,472. And rejection from there based on the weekly. On the daily, there are moving averages above us, and each one of these offer resistances around 5,562 being the last moving average of significance. And so look, there's plenty of option to be long this morning, but only to resistances where we could get rejected and make our way down. Remember, S&P or SPX or whatever, the S&P 500, US 500, whichever chart you're looking at, each one of them made effectively a double top, but to be fair, it's a lower high. So, I mean, a lower low is structurally more appropriate to assume, but until we lose that weekly Bollinger Band center, the 21 exponential, we can't really say either or. So, there's your stocks, there's your Bitcoin, there's your total two. Much is going to hang in the balance of today and tomorrow, and Wednesday especially when the CPI comes out. Finally, we might as well just look at oil just to talk about the CPI just very briefly. So I am bullish on oil, by the way. It hit that major area where I took a nice position. I'll be looking for a reversal, to be honest with you, on oil. I know that is probably not a very popular thing to say, but I do believe that is the case. But when it comes to CPI, it's just a series of lower highs, lower lows. That reflects on CPI. CPI is going to be a lagger, and it's going to look at inflation, mostly well, I say mostly, but a large portion of inflation. And CPI data comes from oil, because oil prices get added to everything, absolutely everything. So it doesn't matter what you're buying or what you're doing. Oil prices factored into your life, whether you drive or not. So that is that. So CPI should be lower, which should cause a rally. But that doesn't mean that rally will be sustained. It's just CPI. The only reason it will rally on lower CPI is because people will start getting excited, thinking they're going to cut rates. But they're not necessarily going to do that. Remember when Powell came in the other week, didn't he? Started talking about, oh yes, maybe we. I'm not sure. Maybe we will. Everyone's like, oh my god, he's not said no. Let's buy. Whoosh! Everybody bought. And it all came down to a lower low. So, remember, CPI is something, but the move on a lower CPI is still an emotional move. It's not a fundamental change in borrowing or anything like that. There's no real change there. So just remember that. Whatever you see in the form of CPI, if we get a lower print and then you see a move up on that, it's a good chance it'll get faded. But look, resistances for Bitcoin, if you get above 60,000, amazing, really, because we're above pretty much all significant moving averages at that point, and we'll be looking to trend up to the top of the range, which is 60,000, well, 60,800, really. Sorry, 68,000, sorry. It's Monday, kids are back at school now, which is good for me, but it also means that earlier, more rushed mornings, and the brain's, the language component of my brain hasn't fully turned on yet. Right, I'll leave with you there. Let's just watch the day develop. Personally, if you want my view on what's going to happen today, is that we will trade up a little bit with a view to get rejected in the 56,000s, to be honest with you. I know it sounds disappointing, but I think that's most likely going to happen. I think we'll move up into 56,000-ish area and reject around that 50 exponential moving average. I'd be very surprised to see us move up to 59, but if we were to do that, I'd also expect a rejection there as well. Right, that is that. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.